my seeking the board's approval for the 2022 and 2023 school year calendars. And I just want to reiterate again, this is not related to the school year we are ready to embark upon. This is looking ahead to the future. I know those watching and certainly our board members know that we have brought forward recommendations a number of times, and we've been soliciting public feedback related to various calendars for your consideration, which include both a pre and a post-Labor Day start. And so we have provided the board some last feedback we received related to that. Dr. Tygan's going to provide a brief update and summary of where we've been and where we are, and then we'll be seeking the board's approval for establishing those calendars for the 2022-23 school year and the 2023-2024 school year.
As Dr. Cashwell said, I'm happy to be here again. Good afternoon, everyone. And do want to share the proposed 22-23 and 23-24 school calendars before give you some additional information before asking for your approval. The 22-23 pre and post Labor Day calendars, as well as the 23-24 post-Labor Day calendars, as revised and shared at the August 12th school board meeting, have been posted to the HCPS website with that tonnage of information for the last 2 weeks. And we gathered additional feedback on the new calendar versions from August 12th through the 22nd. And we had 226 responses, of which 110 preferred the pre-Labor Day starts, and 111 preferred the post-Labor Day start, and 5 people who responded were undecided. When we broke down the data, again, this was not scientific, but just to give you some more data, more staff, 56.6% preferred the pre-Labor Day start, citing alignment with other school divisions and college and academic benefits, while more families, 52.6%, preferred the post-Labor Day, citing because it didn't provide the disruptions to vacations and family time, and worried about the heat. So let's look at next steps. As shared 2 weeks ago, the pre and post Labor Day calendar options presented on August 12th, which you see here, each provided the required 990 instructional hours and 191 teacher workdays. In addition, they included key religious holidays and observations. And with a county as beautifully diverse as Henrico, the inclusion of the religious holidays and observances helps create a sense of belonging for our students and their families, as well as for our staff. The difference is that the earlier start date better supports student learning while aligning us with the school divisions within the region. Thus, the leadership team supports the work of the calendar committee and recommends the adoption of the pre-Labor Day calendars for 22-23. And I am happy to answer any questions that you may have about the calendars or the survey.
Thank you again, Dr. Tygan, for the presentation. Ms. Atkins.
Dr. Tygan, what's interesting is it's a very tough decision in understanding information and data that's not scientific, and at the same time, 111 to 110. Do you feel like we have, as a division, exhausted all possibilities in getting feedback?
Yes, ma'am. We have, not only has it been this year over previous years, and remember again, before school got out, we did that Andy Jenks and his team helped us to do a live event for our staff, and we've done them for additional ones for staff as well as for families. Those have been posted on the website so that anyone who was not able to be a part of it was able to listen and review the questions and responses that were given. I do feel like over the last 3 years, when you take out the COVID year and a half, we've done a lot of work with our families, because we had taken the show out on the road to talk about the, pre-Labor Day and post-Labor Day long before COVID started. And so I think our families are aware of the conversation and the merits that the calendar committee feels of the pre-Labor Day start.
Okay, thank you for your response, and I'll be interested in hearing my colleagues' thoughts as well. I think that in decision-making, we try to get as many facts as we can, and understanding that it's not scientific also tells another story. So I definitely am relying on expertise and trust from Dr. Cashwell and team to help guide and share as much as you can to help at least me do the best I can in representing Varina, Sanston, and Highland Springs. So thank you so much for your response.
You're welcome.
Ms. Atkins, Mrs. Ogburn.
I've been on the board since 2014. This is the one issue that we've talked about every year. So part of me really thinks that some of the low response, if you want to call it that, to some of the surveys, and Dr. Cashwell and I talked about this, I think some people are like, okay, I've already talked about that last year, the year before, whatever. And I think we've talked about it for so long, it's a little bit of an old topic for some people. But it's been on our legislative agenda to lobby the General Assembly to allow us to start before Labor Day for years. And there were lots of really good reasons, and I think, most people are aware of those, and the most important, from my point of view, are academic, because that's what we're all about, is the academics for our students. And AP and IB and all of the special programs that our kids can participate in, national testing, all of those things are all aligned to a pre-Labor Day start for the rest of the country. And I think it's important to note that Chesterfield, Goochland, King and Queen, Powhatan, Prince George have already decided to go to a pre-Labor Day start, as has Maggie Walker and Code RVA. And I think it's important that we are aligned with our regional partners, but with other counties, especially when we have staff members who don't only live in Henrico. I think, being the last county standing is not the place we want to be. So I would absolutely support a pre-Labor Day start. I may be in the minority, but I would rather us go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, do 2 weeks. That's what Maggie Walker's doing. That's what Code RVA is doing. But if the rest of the board agrees with a 1 week, then a 1 week, I can support that. I just think we need to get started on it. But I would absolutely pre-Labor Day for me. However anybody else feels, but there we go.
Thank you, Ms. Ogburn. Ms. Shea?
Thank you so much. I think when we look at our feedback from a data side, it's such a small sample size that mathematically to extrapolate it and try to formulate definitely which way our whole division feels, that's not relevant. What is relevant are those feedback pieces that we got about it to consider. But when I look at this, it comes down to a handful of things, including the academics that Ms. Ogburn talked about, but aligning with the rest of the region increases student opportunities and childcare solutions, moving the school year back a little bit, removes some of the barriers to high school extracurricular participation, increasing access for our students. And it also helps retain staff. You made an excellent point, Dr. Tygan, that's if we are 2 weeks later than other divisions in the area, teachers who live in other counties, they're losing 4 weeks with their family, and that's significant. And when I look at what Ms. Bolden's team is doing, along with Dr. Cashwell and everyone, essentially trying to kick down every single door to find people to hire. Taking a solution like this in order to retain staff, we need to do everything we can to retain staff. And I think that's something we've seen this going into this fall. I have a lot of feedback that says, well, if you could just give the schools a couple more positions, you know, maybe they could do this with lunches or that with lunches or whatever. There aren't people. Like, we have tried to hire all the people we can for HBA. We're hiring people from all over the state. If they can just access a computer, we have looked at so many ways to recruit and retain people. And that is one of our greatest resources. So anyway, after that little diversion, I'm on board for a pre-Labor Day start.
Well, thank you so much, Ms. Shea. Ms. Kinsella?
I appreciate all the comments by my colleagues, and most importantly is to the benefits for our students and families and staff. And I do disagree with the rip the Band-Aid off approach, respectfully, Mrs. Ogburn, but I do support a phased-in approach of week by week and then 2 weeks. So, thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Dr. Casper, any insights you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think all great points have been raised, and, you know, we can certainly look at the feedback we received from this go-round of soliciting feedback, but we've been getting feedback on this topic, and at times we've had many more responses, but the trends have been the same. You see a split there that's pretty similar, whether it's been 100 responses or 500 responses or more, and so, you know, certainly understand that there are varying points of view here. The calendar committee, I want to thank them again for their due diligence and really thinking very deeply through all of the issues you all have raised, particularly related to student achievement, thinking of our families, staff considerations, the regional benefits when, you know, others have moved to that pre-Labor Day start. And I think the solution they've brought forward and for which I'm seeking your approval this evening really allows us to take a phased approach with that 1 week the first year and another week the second year. I know loud and clear the feedback that was pretty unanimous no matter where folks stood was, if we're starting earlier, let's not go longer. And so I do think that was accomplished with the draft the calendar committee, or the drafts the calendar committee have presented here, and the administration supports as well.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. That being said, board members, is there a motion to approve the 2022, 2023, and 2023, 2024 school calendars?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the pre-Labor Day start of the 2022, 23, 23, 24 school calendars as presented.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second?
Been seconded by Mrs. Ogburn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it. The calendars have been approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. Thank you, Dr. Tygan, and please provide our thanks again to the calendar committee for their ongoing work.